Hey there, crew. Welcome back. We have our end of month recap as well as our next 2 weeks setup, which is also mixed with our April plan with me as well, as we get set up for the entire month inside of our appointed task planner and also setting up our week inside of our bullet journal and also a monthly overview as well. We've got a lot of fun stuff that we're going to be getting into today. The first part of this video will be focused on the task planner. We'll be just closing out the month of March, looking forward the next 2 weeks inside of April and getting ourselves prepared in our task planner. Then inside of our bullet journal, we'll be taking a trip where we go ahead and set up April inside of our bullet journal with some new fun inks and stamps that we'll be playing with, as well as a weekly overview that's going to introduce you to those same inks. We're going to be using the same materials throughout. I'm really excited because we have so much to cover today, so let's go ahead and get started first with our yearly task planner. All right, our yearly task planner. This has been an amazing tool for me this entire year so far. This is from Appointed, and you can check out all kinds of fun stuff over on their website, appointed.co. And if you're ever interested in anything from them, I'll just throw it out now before we get into it, that you can use the discount code MenWhoBullet and save 15% off your products, whether it's a dated planner, undated planner. There's even some cool notebooks we'll be talking about later on this week. So this past week, while it looks kind of bare, there's a lot of activity happening with some of the projects that I'm working on. I didn't get to a lot of these tasks towards the end of the week, so we'll be migrating them over today. Our entire month though, this is why I really like these big 2-week sprints, because it really does help me say, okay, what am I really focused on and what do I want to accomplish? And for me, I had a handful of things that I need to get going. We had a research operations workshop that I needed to get done with a coworker of mine, which I did. We prepped, we had some high school students come in and we ran a workshop at work, and that was all good to go. And then also we had some demos that we were doing with a tool that I'm still bringing in. This upcoming week, we're kind of in this weird kind of week, right? We've got the last week of March happening now. The only thing I had pre-planned for myself was to start a renewal for this upcoming month. In April, we have a renewal for one of the design tools that we use. And then we're going to go ahead and just kind of like work ahead in a way also and just kind of make sure we're ready to go, because next week will be April. So I'm actually going to put my 2-week plan over inside of April, since that's where a lot of this information will be happening. I've already gone ahead and kind of pre-set up next week for myself. One of the things I told myself as I started doing more of these videos is that I don't want to have to wait until this video to put things in here. It kind of defeats the purpose. So in a lot of cases, I'm going to already have things in here ready to go. I know that I have to accomplish some priorities. I already have some tasks that came from last week that I just migrated in here already versus writing them down in the previous week and then just bringing them over anyway. A handful of conference or workshops that are coming up later on this week that I'm attending. So really looking forward to that. I'm almost out of my little capacity planner sheets, so I'm gonna have to print more of these out. But I have absolutely loved using these so far this year. It was just, one of those ideas where I was like, I don't want to have to keep rewriting these charts every single week, even though I'm using this chart every single week. So just popping that to the little sticker maker and putting that on here has been great. So I need to print out some more of those, but that'll be all set up for this week. Just write down that title. All right, and then real quick, what I'll do just to kind of complete this week is I'll just take all the items that I didn't get to this week, and I'll go ahead and migrate them over for us. So we'll start with a nice fresh week. We will set up our priorities and get everything ready to go, and then we'll focus on our 2-week setup in April. So this is super easy to set up, just have everything planned for my week and my task. The hard thing I'm having right now, you might have noticed real quick, is like I didn't really set up priorities for last week, even though I had them. It just really was one of those things I overlooked as I was setting up from that previous week. But this week I'm feeling good. I have my main 4 that I'm going to be working on this week. We've also duplicated those inside of task as well to make sure that I'm getting to those and have everything ready to go. I'm really excited. Sometimes people ask, Mark, when you're working through this, you talk about what you do with design operations. And they're curious about capacity and how I'm working on that. And then also people are always curious about my icebreakers or my meeting starters that I'm doing as well. So I've been writing them down here. I'm really excited for this upcoming week. This was actually something that started as just a conversation we had in our work chat about someone going out to get a Starbucks drink. And they were like, we asked, hey, what's your Starbucks drink? Just general conversation. And they started going into it and they were saying, my Starbucks drink is different than something like my Dunkin' drink. And I think it really shows people's personalities. And so they were like, that would be a really fun meeting starter. So on Monday, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put out a quick survey to have people list what their drink is, like their drink order. And then I'll have the team members try to match whose drink order goes to who. So I'm excited for that one. That'll be a lot of fun. let's go ahead and flip to April, since next week will be April the 1st and kind of getting to that first week. And since we do these videos every other week as we go through this will have to be set up. So we have our tool renewal, which is going to happen in this month that I'm getting started on this week. We have that marked down here. We also have my team power hour as well on the 19th. I've already put a handful of dates in here. This is probably one of my favorite parts about using this task planner, and something that I would love to try to figure out how to get into my bullet journal too, if I could. I just haven't really figured it out just yet, but just having these big calendar pages that I can write stuff in that's happening. So we're all good to go here. Now, for this 2-week that I've been doing, which again, absolutely love doing it, I'm thinking about different ways that I can bring other stationery in here, because I have it and I'm not always using it in my bullet journal. So I have these little papers. These are from Eric Small Things. They came as a part of some different like packs and stuff that I had. So I thought that these papers would be kind of cool to maybe use inside of here. The problem is it doesn't exactly fit, so we're going to have to do a little bit of work here. But I thought what I could do is just fold it in half and maybe cut off the bottom, and that would be enough space. And then I have kind of my top 4 or 5 things that I want to do inside of the next 2 weeks. So that's what we're gonna do. So we'll go ahead real quick and just snip off the bottom of this. Something like that. Looks pretty neat, right? All right, so for the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, my main priorities that I'm going to be focusing on are going to be for our renewal for the tool that we use here. So that's happening on the 15th, so I really have to get that in order this upcoming 2 weeks. I also have some other things that I put in my priorities for this week, which also count for these next 2 weeks. So I'll write those in here as well, and then we'll be all set up inside of here. A lot of the things that I have to get done is basically just closing out Q1 for us. So that all ends at the end of March. We're right here. So a lot of decks, health surveys that I do for my team, and an overall Q1 retro I have as well. So those will be like my real big deals inside of my planner for these next 2 weeks. Just a real quick check-in as we're about to wrap up the rest of March here. I'll be filling in my reflections area at the end of this week as we actually wrap up this month. But I'm happy to say all of my top tasks are already complete. My intentions this month were really focused on being mindful around work tasks and being very productive on the interest of my team and things that I wanted to get done. So all of this is going very well, and I'm on track with my intentions. And like I said, I'll focus on my reflections at the end of this week. This past week, instead of my bullet journal, not a heavy bullet journal usage. Even though I was very busy in email, I didn't have a whole lot of tasks or things that were inside of here. I just spent so much time this week kind of reacting to emails and things that were coming in. It's been good because I've been using the stack method heavily again and getting things where they need to go, but not a super heavy week inside of here. So let's go ahead and set up our monthly first, and then we'll do our weekly, and then we'll be in a good spot for this April setup. So for a monthly overview, we're going to be having some fun with inks today. I'm so excited for the new items that are coming out from Ferris Wheel Press. These both will be available on April the 6th. We're going to be looking at the blue Yosemite Falls. This is just a stunning, stunning blue ink. Look at the packaging for that. How nice is that? Their design is just so cool. So we've got this one. This one actually doesn't have anything like super extra on it. I'll show you my swatch real quick so you can see what that actually looks like. So this is the blue Yosemite Fall. So it has some cool shading to it, which I really like. And then this one I'm so excited for. It's called Glistening Glass. So this is a part of their Fairy Tales collection. And this is inspired by Cinderella. So you have like this blue-gray ink. You have sheen, you have gold. Just absolutely so cool. So yeah, so blue-gray base, red sheen, gold shimmer, no shading. And when I tell you how beautiful this is when I'm writing with it, you're going to love it. One of the coolest items that I got this past month was actually my very first Twsbi. So this is a really cool Vac pen. The way it works essentially is you unscrew the back here, and there's a plunger that's back here. When you pull it up and you start to press it down, once you set it inside of the ink, it creates a vacuum inside of here. And then when it makes it down to this bottom section, the ink that your pen is inside of it gets sucked up inside of here. So I actually loaded this pen with the blue Yosemite Fall, so you'll see what some of that looks like as we're working through their bullet journal setup as well today. First things first, let's go ahead and just give the Glistening Glass a little shake. All of the shimmer is down here at the bottom, and that's one of the most amazing parts of this ink. So we'll be using that for our headers, and then we'll get going. All right, even though it got a little bit muddy in some spots, look at how amazing that glistening glass ink looks on here. That red sheen laid on top. You've got that gold shimmer that's on here. Like, the P looks kind of bad, but I don't care. Look at that huge glob of gold in the middle of there. So you can see why I love this ink so much, right? I'll be taking personal time to write in my intentions for this month. We're not going to do that now, but this is all set up. I'll be filling the rest of this out. So let's go ahead and take on our weekly spread. I've already laid out my space for my weekly this week just by separating this page into fifths, kind of. I'm just counting up 6 spaces from the bottom, which will take us all the way up to the top that we're going on our overall spread here. This is just going to create a little bit of space for us at the top here, so that way we can use our stamp. We can use our fountain pen for the title. As I'm using my bullet journal more and more this year, along with the task planner, I'm just finding that small weekly overviews work well. I know the dates that are coming up, and the rest is just all for notes and whatever else is going on. So it's been working out really well for me personally. It's definitely been interesting, though. I'm so used to just writing and putting everything inside of my bullet journal. So when I don't have everything in my bullet journal, it feels kind of odd to me, but it's working out. I'm liking it okay. This week, I'm going to go ahead and just use the pen nib when I'm working along with this ink for just something nice and subtle. Here, usually I use one of the brass or the stainless steel nibs, which lets you have a little bit more flexibility, but just excited to use this one. But I like to rotate through different things, making sure I'm really getting the use out of everything. All right, so we are all set up. We have our April setup going inside of our bullet journal for this upcoming month. We have our 2-week priorities inside of our task planner. We also have our weekly spread over here as well for this entire week with all of the great inks that we used. I'm just loving it. It's a very fountain pen week, let me tell you. So I'm excited about it. All of the links for all of the products that I used in today's video will be down in the descriptions for you below. And as I mentioned, on April the 6th, the 2 inks from Ferris Wheel Press will be available. If you love the way that these look inside of here, we've got all types of stuff going on. I'm very pumped up for this week. So I hope that you have a great start to your week and a great start to April as well as we round out the end of this week. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. And as always, happy planning, and I'll talk to you next time. See ya.